Back to the State and Local Sports Show, another special basketball edition here with Mark Tennis, co-founder and editor of CalHighSports.com. We're back in the video format for a week, trying it out again. We're here to talk about the Sac-Joaquin Section basketball finals. Friday and Saturday at Sleep Train Arena in Sacramento. Got a few local teams going. One of the first ones, Brookside Mariposa, Boys Division 5 on a Friday evening, 5:30 p.m. tip-off. And it's kind of one of those fun matchups just in terms of where they're from. You know, we got Brookside Christian from the city of Stockton, a city that's actually bigger than Pittsburgh. You know, it's a private school program in Mariposa. Another kind of underdog getting in there, public school from up in the country. What do you think of when you get those kind of eclectic matchups like that? To me, it's part of the fun of not just the playoffs, but especially the championship stage.
You're right. It's one of the real fun things to do. I don't know that much about either one of the teams, but you know, Brookside Christian seems like they're playing very well in the last few months, and certainly Mariposa in the playoffs has been very good.
Brookside Christian looking for its second consecutive section championship after beating Elliott Christian last year. Later that night, I would definitely call it the main event, Weston Ranch and Manteca boys. Two of the top teams, not just in the division, in the section, but in Northern California, facing off for a title at 9 p.m. It was an all-VOL game last year, too. That was Sierra beating Weston Ranch. You saw round one of this series at Weston Ranch earlier this year. As these teams have progressed and even kind of danced around the bubble of Cal High Sports State Top 20, any prediction, any thoughts on how it might play out?
This is a really tough matchup. I mean, we've seen so many times where the team that wins the early season games loses later on. And then also keep in mind, they could play again in the NorCal tournament in Division III, and they're both good enough to win some games and make it to the finals or play each other again. So if you look at it, this could be the round 3 of 4.
Absolutely. You know, it's really tough. They say in any sports beat a good team 3 times, and you wonder about that. Last year, Manteca swept their VOL series. They faced off in the semifinals, and Weston Ranch won by 20. So I'm sure that's on the back of the minds of all the players involved, and I know the kids who weren't on the team have already heard about it enough from me and from their teammates. As we look to Saturday morning, for those like me who work a crazy schedule, it's going to be strange to get up at a certain time and go see Brookside and West Campus girls, a Division IV title game at 11:30 a.m. The section championship exciting enough, but looking a little deeper, and the state playoffs will be seeded Sunday. Do you think Brookside Christian girls, are they already probably an open division team? If they win, is that what's going to push them into that open division? Maybe get them a game against St. Mary's?
They have to. They obviously have to win, and you're going to want to win. You don't want to lose on purpose or anything, so you don't move up to the open division. No one would ever suggest that. But at the same time, if they win, and if all the other favorite teams win, to me, it looks like they're the 8th team in the open division in the north. The other game to keep in mind for that is Antelope versus Vanden. Now, Vanden is eligible for the open division. That's a very good team. They have 8 losses. Vanden hasn't beaten anyone as good as Pinewood, however, which is a team Brookside has beaten. And Vanden, I don't think, has beaten anybody as good as Sacred Heart Cathedral, which is a team that Brookside has beaten. So it looks to me that if Brookside wins and all the other results, they're going to probably wind up at that 8th spot. Now, is there a chance the CIF might not pick an 8th seed and give St. Mary's, assuming it's St. Mary's, a bye? They haven't done that in the past, but I guess it's feasible. It's possible they could give St. Mary's a bye, but when you look at it, they probably won't. It'll probably be Brookside, and they'll probably play each other. So Brookside's situation is going to either be the number 1 seed in Division 4 or be the number 8 seed in the open division and have to play St. Mary's. Kind of difficult, kind of a bad thing, but that's what the open division does sometimes.
You mentioned St. Mary's, not just number 1 in the section Division 1, but number 1 in the nation via USA Today and ESPN. They played a 6:30 p.m. game against St. Francis, the number 3 team. St. Mary's 26-0, 55-game winning streak dating back to December 2014, losing after the first quarter to Folsom earlier this week, and you think, wow. But then they go on a 25-0 run. Any chance for St. Francis? We mentioned anyone in this bracket even really standing a chance.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a chance, but I mean, it's going to be a similar type of game. There's going to be a run in the game of a 20-point run or something similar. And St. Francis, I believe, was eliminated last year by St. Mary, so they know them very well, and they know they're probably going to be in a tough spot. But in their situation, they're not eligible for the open division. They know they're going to be in the Division I bracket, so this is a very good opportunity for them to go up against and test themselves against, the number 1 team in the nation.
We still got quite a bit of basketball left, a few more weeks heading into the state finals late March in Sacramento, but it is officially spring sports season as well. East Union softball defending Sac-Joaquin Section Division III champion, ranked number 10 in the state by Cal High Sports, as well as number 39 in the country by Max Preps. It's one of those teams that you wonder if they were able to advance past the section round and past their division of enrollment, would they be able to compete with the state's elite? I kind of spoke about that in a column this week on, hey, boys and girls basketball, volleyball, football have the state playoff system, maybe softball and baseball too. How do you think those could pan out in a statewide effort? I know they're not as much of a moneymaker, but it seems like fiscally more low maintenance than some of the other sports.
Yeah, I read your column this morning. It was very interesting, and I would say that the thing to keep in mind is baseball is almost an impossibility to have a state playoff because of the length of the season, because of the pitching limitations. You just be playing forever. Some of the state tournaments around the country, like in Texas, last 6 weeks.
Wow.
In baseball.
Wow.
They are long. Baseball's not going to happen. And not many people really are clamoring for it. Softball is a different beast because in softball, you can pitch the same person 3 times in one weekend, and they're used to it. So you could bring teams into a weekend tournament, 8 teams, for example, and get it done very quickly. So softball is a different beast. The thing to keep in mind, another sport that people have clamored for a state championship is in boys volleyball. Now, whenever the CIF adds a sport, they always want to add another one. So what you could see is the CIF adding boys volleyball and softball being the girls equivalent. So then those two would be the two new sports, and then the softball tournament would offset football instead of girls volleyball offsetting football. So we'd have the same number in both. That's something that I've heard about, and I know there's been discussion about that at the CIF for doing that. Whether it'll ever happen or not, we'll have to see.
It'll be fascinating to see. And CalHighSports.com, the Gold Club membership with all of your state record books, state rankings, all the insider content. Less than $20 a year, less than $2 a month. Mark, it's one of the funnest weekends of the year, at least in my opinion. Hope you enjoy it. And thanks for joining me.
I will be there. I will be there Saturday.
Thanks again.
Thanks.